Hi there, I'm Mike Madge for SailJuice.com, continuing with our series of DN Ice Boat Racing, and we're very excited today to have 12-time world champion, an American Cup helmsman. Might want to talk to him a little bit about that. Karol Jablonski, welcome to the show, Karol.
Hi, how are you guys? Pleasure.
And I want to give a little plug. I mean, you know you've made it in sailing when you've got a book about yourself, and this is a book Karol generously sent me. Karol Jablonski, all about his growing up in sailing, and he's referred to as the Wizard of Wind. So congratulations on that.
Yes. Thank you.
So we've got an exciting episode today. We get a chance to jump in Karol's DN and go for a race with him. And I think you'll find it very exciting. Karol's going to put on his analysis hat. He's going to tell us what he's thinking, and he's going to walk us through this race. So first, let's set it up. So while we're setting this up here, Karol, maybe you can just tell us where the race is, what the conditions were, and what starting position you're in.
Yes, this is the first race of the Warsaw Cup regatta, which we sailed on the lake Zegje, close to Warsaw. And this is the start for the first race. And in ice sailing, as the ice boaters know, we're gonna get the starting position. We will draw the starting position. So my starting position here was the number 28. So the last position on the left side of the corner. In the Gold Fleet, we had 30 sailors. And for those guys who never sailed on the ice, we have the guys, the half fleet starting to the right-hand side, and the half is starting to the left-hand side. And if you compare this with the soft water sailing, this is like starting at the pin at the moment here and going to the left. And I mean, you are lucky with this position in sailing if you can win the pin and you can go to the left, because you know that the left side is gonna pay off for you, and this is great. But in this case, the problem was that in this lake, and this day, the right side was the big time favorite. And the biggest problem is in ice sailing, you cannot choose your starting position. You just have to take the position you got given. That's only for the first race. Then accordingly, in the next race, you take the starting position you finish in the race. So I got used to this, and in general, in all regattas, I compete. It doesn't matter if this is the normal regular ranking regatta or World Championship. I have first races for me just to get back into the top 10 in order to get a better starting position for the next race. And yes, starting at the pin and here on the left-hand side, and then taking to the right is almost impossible because you have to cross all the fleet. So for me, it was clear I want to go to the right-hand side. But as you see here, from this point of view, I cannot start. I cannot take to the right-hand side. So I have to wait for the moment to take. And yes, the acceleration out of the start is not as great as I would expect. The problem is that I am not the youngest anymore in the running. And you see the right-hand side is sailing much faster because they got at the moment better breeze, and it's been quite puffy. So I got the puff quite late and I lost a little bit speed and distance. So then I decided to take to the right-hand side. And this is the tag. And you want to make sure that once you tag, you are not going meet a boat which is going on starboard, because then you have to just take back, and this is a big loss. So I'm quite happy here. Okay, the tag was quite nice, and the other guys were ahead. I accept this, that everybody is in front now, and now I go to the favorite right-hand side. And you see, trying to get the maximum speed, you look to the right, you want to make sure that no one is coming on starboard, you don't crash anyone. And yes, you try to get the maximum speed. And you observe the course, and you know you want to get to the right. And the right-hand side was so favorite that even the last guy from the right was actually maybe 100 meters ahead of me. But I mean, I enjoy racing anyway, and I don't feel any kind of pressure that I have to win. I have to do my best, and that was the case. And you see here, this is the first guy coming from the right-hand side, and the other guys are crossing, and this is quite a challenging part of the race, because you have to find, like in normal sailing, place to tack, not to be over the ley line. You don't want to be under the ley line, but you have to understand that once you tack on ley line, you're going to have like 20 boats tacking on you, and rounding the top mark with the maximum speed, that's the key, or that's the clue to success. You know, once you tack too low and the wind is shifty and you end up being slow on the top mark, you're gonna lose a lot of many meters. And you see, I decided to hit the corner, the right-hand corner, and the right-hand side was favorite. So I managed to come back a little bit into the race. My speed was just okay, but I wasn't the fastest guy. And I was trying to reading the wind, and you see me now coming to the mark on starboard, and
So
I had a quite good pressure. The pressure was just quite good, and yes, we go further.
So
you try to control those guys which are coming on the port deck, because sometimes they don't see you, or they want to cross you in the front, and you know, you don't want to get into, I mean, too close situation, and then get a collision. So that's the mark. So I'm going in the mark, and you see I use the momentum. I had a good speed, and I decided straight away to bear away and jibe, because coming from the right-hand side, I felt that the right-hand corner had a more breeze, and now I decided to go straight into the small pressure. The other guys went to the other to the other side, so which opened opportunity for me to gain some distance, or to lose some distance.
So one question, Karol, yes. What position do you feel you're in here at the top mark? And by the way, we're talking a 3-lap race, right, with a downwind finish?
I think I'm around 15th place. And in Poland, in this regard, I mean, the fleet is very competitive. We shouldn't forget that we have on the starting line here like 6 world champions, actually. So guys which are very fast, and those guys, the other guys, they are sailing very, very fast as well. So you have to be, I mean, very focused. Everything has to go quite okay for you. You have to make good decisions, because if you do small mistake, this is going to be very expensive. So you have to cut. I mean, coming from behind, you always have to cut a little bit the ley lines, but you cannot cut too much, because then you lose too much speed. The mark rounding has to be perfect as well, and you have to make a decision at the mark rounding, the leeward mark rounding, what you're going to do straight away after rounding. If you want to keep going to the right, then you can round the mark, the leeward mark, on the wider circle and stay lower. And if you want to attack, you gotta be close to it and going straight to the tack.
So one question I have for you here, Karol. So you came around that windward mark and you made an early jibe onto port. So now we see you here coming back onto starboard, going downwind on this first lap. Was it a wind shift that caused you to shift back here onto starboard, or were you trying to stay more towards the middle of the course?
Yeah, that was more than 70% already, because the course wasn't that long. And you know, I tagged because I was in the right lee, and further off the shore, in the middle of the course, I expected to get a lefty shift. So I didn't want to go to the ley line in the right hand shift, because then you overstood. So the tech was a little bit early in order to expect the left hand shift. And I think in this case, anyway, in the light breeze, because the wind wasn't that strong, that was only like maybe 4 meters per second, 3, 4, 5 meters per second, but very puffy. So it was important to stay in the path. So the paths were more important than shifts. And sailing downwind, you can feel when you are in the path, and in ice sailing, we sail 4, 5, or 6 times faster than the wind. So sailing downwind, you actually, are sailing faster than the path. So the important is to stay in the path, and you can only achieve this if you jibe. And otherwise, you're gonna end up being too far away from the pressure. You see the ice is bumping.
Sorry, you're approaching the leeward mark here on starboard.
This is always good. I mean, I like this because if you have a guys on port and you are just more on the same, you're always inside, and you can make the quite the turn you like to do it, and you can just push those guys coming on port deck a little bit away from the mark. They have to give you room, and I mean, this is always quite good strategical move if you do this way. Mm-hmm.
So here you are set up. You got a couple boats in front of you. One looks like he's slowed down significantly. How maybe talk us through this leeward mark rounding for the first time.
Yeah, this is important because even if you are faster, you see this is 431. This is the guy who won the European champions. He won this regatta, so he is a world champion as well. Jarek Radzki, very good guy. And if you are faster and you come to the slower boat, in ice sailing, what you have, even in the sailing, you have to understand, you never ever try to go inside, because it is going to create a dangerous situation, and you have to go on the outside, avoid the collision, avoid the slower boat. In the rules, it is clearly written that the faster boat, which is coming from behind, has to give room to the faster boat, to the slower boat. So we have it here.
So consequently, it looks like it took you quite a bit outside around that mark. So it looks like it's quite a bit on the outside.
Yes, because the funny story, the story is that in front of these 2 boats, we had another like 5, 6, 7 boats. They were on the close hold, but they were sailing quite a little bit higher angles. So I said, I want to get to the right-hand side, because the right-hand side is favorite. So that's why I put my bow down and I went for full speed and the wide rounding. So I like it to be below the other boats with wind, which is not turbulent from the sails which are in the front of me. And we had enough, and they are like 10 boats or something like this. That was my idea.
So we're on the second upwind mark, or heading towards the second upwind mark. So that's now you said you were favoring the right, but it looks like you're tacking.
Yeah.
You're tacking pretty early.
Yes, I changed my opinion. I like it to go right. But the funny story is I just did see the boats in the front a little bit slowing down, and I wasn't sure that there is a breeze on the right hand corner, because I said that the wind was maybe more in the middle, and for me this time. So I decided to tack in the middle, because I felt as well that the starboard tack was like 10 degrees or even 15 degrees right hand shift. So, and the right hand shift was actually pretty far away from the shore. So normally you get the right hand shift once you get closer to the shore. This is kind of shore effect. But this one was already like after rounding the mark, I was in the righty. So I felt I'm in the righty, so I have to tack. And that was quite a smart decision. not because I was in the face. Suddenly, I was in the face with the wind.
So it's interesting. A lot of people think DN races are just bang the corners, but obviously this is quite a tactical race here.
This is a tactical race because the shifts, as I said, they were quite big and huge, but the pressure was very important. Sometimes you had a really, really strong breeze, you were in the pressure, and suddenly there was nothing. And here, that was very nice. I just tagged, and I was in the right-hand shift with the pressure.
So do you like to tack when you're in the pressure?
Yes, always do the, always you gotta do the tag once in the pressure. You see, then I decided to go back because that was the lefty. And you see the guy, the blue hole behind me. This is the guy who I tagged. I tagged behind just on starboard.
And you see you're catching some extra pressure here. You got that windward skate up in the air with a nice pop.
So again, and now I'm watching right because I'm on port tack, and I have, because other guys, they were on starboard. So I was watching them coming and trying to find, do I have to cross or do I have to leave out them? And where I am on the ley line as well, because it was very shifty and the ley line was very difficult to pick up. So you don't want to be too far away and too high. You don't want to lose too much distance on this, because I still had to catch another guys. They were way ahead.
And again, the importance of getting your head out of the boat when you're racing. So you got such a good feel for the boat.
Yeah. So you see, I tagged here, and then I was already like maybe top 4 or something like this. So that was, excellent beat. Because I passed all those guys which sailed to the right-hand corner. But here's again, I'm jibing again here, because before the mark rounding, I felt a big right-hand shift. So I just jibed again, because I don't jibe only because I want to jibe. I have reason to jibe.
So what I find interesting here that's a super neat camera shot. It's almost like the camera is emphasizing how zoned in focused you are, almost like, I guess when you get out in clean air like that, you can almost just zone right into the boat for speed.
Yes, this camera this is new for me as well, and the guys who operate the camera, I think he did a good job. But even it would be nice to have a kind of drone, the pictures or the video taken by the drone, which shows more about the race course, gives more understanding about positioning, and we had this kind of shots in one regatta in Sweden. That was excellent to watch this. But this is great.
I got a question for you here, Karol. You seem like you're off to the if we're looking downwind to the left side of the course by yourself here. Are you trying to keep track of what's happening to those guys that went further on starboard? Are you getting a good idea of what type of wind they're in and shift?
As I said before, I'm watching in sailing downwind. I'm watching guys sailing upwind or being in the different corners. So I try always to figure out or find out if they are sailing fast or or what kind of wind direction they have. And before I decided to jibe, I actually did see those guys in the right corner, because when I was approaching on port, I could see them exactly that they got a good pressure in this corner, and their masts were bending very a lot, and they had a good speed. That's why I decided to get there, and I was hoping to catch this pressure, and this is what actually did happen.
So now you're on starboard, coming into the leeward mark for the second time. Again, a 3-lap race. You got that boat right to windward of you. Is he causing you any grief at all?
Yes, but this is, he was sailing higher and faster maybe than I did, but I think my 5MG was better than his. And usually downwind, I managed to sail a few degrees lower than the other guys with the same speed. So, and then, as I said, the wind is so puffy and and shifty that maybe I had another breeze, another wind, simply another path.
So it looks like you're coming right into the leeward mark here for the second time.
Yes.
Looks like you called that lay line pretty well to give you a chance to jibe and make a nice, real good rounding here.
Yes, that was quite a tough maneuver because I was a little fast and the steering runner was a little bit unloaded. So I had a trouble to make a good rounding, but I still managed to do it. That was good.
So you're heading back off to the right here again. Are you thinking going all the way to the lay line this time, or?
Yeah, that was a good question always because the situation was changing quite fast, and it matters what you want to get. I still had a few balls ahead of me, and they were as well on port tag going to the right corner. That was Michał Bulczyński. That was Lukas Zakrzewski, the world champion, and another two guys. They were still ahead of me, but I was still already catching them, and I was happy with what I did. So I decided now to take a little bit early because following them into the right corner, I mean, wouldn't give me any chance to get closer or past them, and a little bit more, not. I mean, a little bit outside or further out from the shore, there was still a little bit more breeze. So I actually said to myself, I mean, even if we know that during the tag we lose a lot of distance, but the shifts and the pressure were more important than one tag. And those guys, the other guys, they tried to get to go to do only one tag, so they only were banging the right hand corner, and I was just below them and was having more pressure, and probably I made again a good gain.
So are you on the lay line here, or you still?
No, I'm below ley line, big time below ley line. His attack is coming again, but you see how the mass works. You know, he's bending and then it's becoming straight. Now it's more pressure. You see this now. I just plank is bending, and I'm accelerating. So I had now very good pressure here, and I had the right shift. You see in the right corner those guys. Yep. There is one guy in the right corner.
Yeah, way over here. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the guy. And he was ahead of me, so now I attack. So you gotta have a proper setup on the rig, on the side state tensions if you want to just do this kind of tags. Yeah, this is the 155, the world champion. And then Michał Bulczyński is leading, and he is the guy from behind. You know, this guy was just coming from behind with a lot of more speed, so I let him go in, and yes, I jibe again into the right corner because the pressure was very good on this side.
Now it looks like, oh sorry, Karol, but it looks like everybody else is catching on. All those guys that rounded ahead of you are all jibing, and it looks like they're jibing to cover you. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, I was not that fast as the P74 who came a long way on starboard tag, and he's got more speed. So I just accelerated, and I just jibed and was hoping to get more breeze in the right hand shift on this corner. And this is actually what did happen, because you see Michał Bulczyński here. That's the on the right hand side. He's coming. Yeah, he's there on the right hand side. He's sailing higher than I do, and I had already a lot of pressure and the right hand shift. So I can sail. You see him? That's him in the front now. So I sail lower now and same speed. It is funny, but he's got another 5G, and you have to accept that we sailed on different angles. So he jibed here.
So quick question here. You took his stern here. Are you thinking when you come back on starboard, when you jibe back onto starboard, you're going to have right away on him?
Yes, that is always actually the key and the move you can do it, because he jibed he jibed like maybe 300 meters or 400 meters before ley line. So I was extending a little bit more, but I couldn't extend too much because with a small shift from the left, I would be, overstanding the ley line. So, and it was very difficult to judge the ley line in the shifty conditions. Actually, I should actually have gone another 100 meters and then jibed. Then I would be on the perfect ley line to the dolly mark and to the finish, and then I would have won this race.
So this is now coming into the finish, right?
Yes, this is coming to the finish. Yes.
And it's a downwind finish.
Yeah, this is a downwind finish, and I am on starboard, and Michal is ahead of me a little bit, but I am on starboard now and going quite fast. And I was catching him actually, and now I became the righty. And you see here, Booms, if you stop for a while, I have jibed in front of him, and there is only like 100 meters to the finishing line. But the problem is that every jibe with this speed in iceboat is very costly. And now you see, if you keep moving, that Michal is going faster, and I couldn't get that much speed as he had. Even I had a perfect jibe, but it takes a while to get the speed. And Michal was just simply sailing faster, and he just passed me by 5 meters at the finishing line. But I was anyway. I was very, very happy with my performance, with the gains I made during the race. It's been a quite, good race, which where I played the shifts very well and pressure very well. That was excellent race.
Well, that was really exciting to watch, and it was great to have you commentating on it. That we could go through that with you. That was really exciting, and
I appreciate it. This is cool. You have to stay cool, and the result is gonna come. I think it is important just to keep, don't be too much stressed, because in these conditions you make gains and you lose sometimes, but this is part of the game, that's sailing. And the most important thing is you have to enjoy the game, and the result, at the end, if it's fine, it's fine. If it's not, then it is okay still, and after this race, the next few races, I had a horrible races. I end up being in the deep shit after the start, because I am not the fastest. I'm being in the sandwich. Then I had to take away where I didn't like it to take, but I had to take. And the wind wasn't on my side. And the other guys were in a better position. So I finished like 11th, I finished 12th, and I finished then 8th. So that was a kind of very, very bad results for me. But I enjoyed racing very, very much. And next day I paid back a little bit, winning one race, finishing second 2 times, and finishing 5th. So that was, ice sailing is a great sport.
Well, we enjoyed having you on today, and we appreciate you coming on, and hope to have you on again. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much.